The new mini set is coming in a few hours, so in this video I'm gonna give a quick review on all of the cards that are coming out, so you guys have a better idea of what you should be expecting. If you guys are serious about Hearthstone, drop a like and subscribe to the channel, and don't forget you can hang for some Hearthstone coaching. And also, if you wish to support me, right now, Metafy groups would be the best place to do so, because they have this huge contest and they're basically giving away free money. So for the low price of $3, you could actually help me get a lot more. Like for instance, last week I managed to finish on the 6th spot, and that netted me extra $250. And it literally could have been even almost 400, but I actually got sniped at the last few hours with a couple of dudes that went ahead of me. So yeah, would really appreciate you if you check out the Metafy groups thing and help out. Anyway, now let's get into the cards.
You are not prepared!
I will actually not be streaming tonight, I usually always do, so I can give you guys some new decks from day one, but it is my grandma's birthday, so priorities. Before I start revealing the cards, I just gotta say, it's always gonna be worth it for you guys to spend the 2000 gold on the new mini set, no matter how good or bad the cards are. Getting yourself 4 legendaries, 1 epic, and a whole lot of rares and commons just for 2000 gold, that is not something you usually do with that kind of money. Like 20 packs usually give you like what? 1 legendary, 2 if you're lucky. So every time a mini set comes out, it's always the best idea to buy that thing. And if you're missing old mini sets and you haven't opened a bunch of cards from there, it's also a good idea to maybe grab those as well. Because you are going to be opening new standard packs, and not having the mini set gives you a chance of actually opening those legendaries. And even though you don't want them, you are going to be getting them one way or another. So basically make yourself a favor and just spend the 2000 gold on this thing. It's not like we don't know mini sets are coming. It's always a good idea to save up the gold prior. So yeah, do that thing. Starting off with the neutral cards from the new Traveling Travel Agency mini set, we have a 2-mana busy peon, and this guy is a 2-mana 2/3. Death Rattle, your next location costs 2 less. Okay, this card definitely looks like it's gonna be pretty good for things like Death Knight, because their 4-mana location is definitely MVP right now. I guess we can also think about other classes with somewhat expensive locations. Those would also work pretty good for them, but right now, honestly, the first thing that comes to mind would be a Death Knight kind of location. Also, Demon Hunter Shaman can definitely abuse that, because their 4-mana pirate location is super good as well. So I do believe this card is actually going to be pretty good. People have rated it fairly mediocre, like basically unplayable. I don't know, I think it has some merit to it, and we should be seeing some of it, at least in Shaman and Death Knight, I'd say. Next up, we have Dream Planner Zephrys. He's a 3-mana 3/2 elemental. His battle cry is choose a travel tour to get 2 potentially perfect cards. You've probably already seen a lot about this guy. Definitely sounds like a good card. Kind of gives me the Gorgon Zormu, Astalor vibes. You should be able to find room for this guy in plenty of decks. Definitely is going to be a no-brainer in Highlander decks. You are going to get the versatility to get yourself some high-value cards, some potential removal, or just some potential face burn. So all around, I do believe this guy should be pretty good. And yeah, people are rating him at 4 stars, so they also see the potential. Here's the free locations. So yeah, sounds like a good idea to me. We also have this 3-mana Clumsy Steward. He's a 2/4 nothing. After any card is drawn, make it temporary. It is kind of an interesting concept. Basically, if you tempo this guy out, the opponent is stop decking a temporary card like that, and that can definitely be very annoying. Problem is, it's a very, very hit and miss card. Like, it's a free 2/4. Doesn't exactly spark joy. Maybe if it was a free 3/4, you could make the argument of actually running it, because at least has somewhat adequate stats for a free drop nowadays. But yeah, it can definitely mess up some combo decks and whatnot, but I'm not really sure how much we're gonna see this. You could make the case of maybe forcing the opponent to draw somehow, like let's say running this thing in a Demon Hunter with Glide. You could actually draw them free cards, make them temporary like that. Maybe that's something Highlander Demon Hunter is gonna start using, but for now, I don't know. Surely we're gonna figure out some way to actually make this guy feel very annoying, like maybe put him in a control deck that has a way to make the opponent draw somehow. And also for Wild, this thing is gonna be hella annoying, because there's plenty of forced draw in that one for Druids and Rogues and whatnot, so it does definitely have potential, but for Standard, I'm not sure how much. People are rating it around 3 stars, sounds about right. We also have this 5-mana Carnivorous Cubicle, which is a pretty fun little wordplay there from carnivorous cube from back in the day. Now it's a cubicle, because, you know, office job and whatnot. It's a 5 mana 4/6 nothing. Battle cry, destroy a friendly minion, summon a copy of it at the end of your turn. This is definitely going to be pretty strong with Death Rattle minions. You basically trigger the Death Rattle and summon it back again at the end of the turn. People have been speculating that Bomb Warrior could be using this quite nicely with the Death Rattle boss that deal damage or shuffle bombs and whatnot. I can definitely see something along those lines happening indeed. It does look to be a promising card. I think we should be seeing a decent chunk of it and decent meta decks with it. Sitting at 4 stars, sounds about right as well. And lastly, we have Travel Master Dungar. He doesn't really seem very enticing. 9 mana free that summons 3 minions from your deck that are different expansions. I guess there might be a deck in the cards that would allow you to do something like basically run mostly spells for the early game and have a few expensive minions at the end. But I don't know. Feels like 9 mana in this economy. Like, when was the last time we saw turn 9, guys? Doesn't happen very often now, does it? So I wouldn't really be holding my breath for this guy being any impact on the game anytime soon. That's about it for the neutrals. Now let's look at the Death Knight cards. And here we can see we have 4 new cards. I mean, not really. Some of these are actually Shaman cards. Oh yeah, hell, this is gonna be quite the impact. I forgot that all of the old tourists are actually enabling all of the new cards included, so that can be pretty sick indeed. So we have a couple of the Shaman cards in here and 3 Demon Hunter cards. Death Knight cards, that is. And let's see the Death Knight first. We have a 2 mana double Unholy, Soul Searching. Discover a card from your deck. Spend 5 corpses to copy it. Interesting for Unholy. Like, what are we really trying to copy and spend 5 corpses? Kinda interesting. They definitely protected themselves from giving you double climatic necrotic explosion, that's for sure. But with double Unholy, that sounds kinda wonky, man. Like, really not sure how we're gonna be using it. People are definitely happy about the card. They see the potential. For me right now, I'm just not seeing it straight up, but to be fair, I'm not really looking too hard now, am I? We also have Eternal Layover. It's a 4 mana Unholy card. Give all minions reborn, then destroy all minions. I guess this should be pretty strong for some Death Rattle action. It also gives you plenty of corpses this way. You could also technically double charge, like with your ghouls, you could destroy them after you've gone face once, you can go face one more time, that's kinda cool. Again, could be giving some Death Rattle synergies for sure, but let's not forget it's also doing it for the opponent. You could also do some value trading, like get some minions down to 1 health and then destroy them back to full health, that can be pretty powerful like that. A bit expensive on the 4 mana side, but I think we should be seeing some play. Community doesn't seem to agree as much. 3 stars, not sure if it's making it justice, but time will tell. And lastly, we have this 6 mana Travel Security. He's a 2/2 undead. Taunt Death Rattle, summon a random 8-cost minion. It's kind of cool that at least this guy has a taunt on his own, so you don't actually have to worry about the opponent not being forced to trade it. You could also trigger it with the Layover card. Kinda sounds interesting, but I'm really not sure if we have the correct meta for this guy to really work out. We should be seeing some play out of this guy, but all around, some of the 8 drops are awfully mediocre. Like, for instance, Bran would be pretty shit. So I'm not sure if the 6 mana random payoff is gonna be all that worth it. But obviously you could get a lot of extra stats on the board with the help of the Yadler triggering it twice, the Layover and whatnot. There is potential, but I'm not sure if it's gonna end up being an actual meta deck. Definitely looks more to be an arena card than anything else. And the Shaman cards that Death Knight is gonna have access to is gonna be the Ice Crown Brochure, which deals 3 damage to a minion and freezes its neighbors, and flips each turn into a deal 3 damage to a minion and 1 to its neighbors. Okay, this is gonna reinforce why it's so important to position properly, using your locations in the middle, putting your taunts on the far left. Not so much the taunts here, because it's a spell, but you get it. Having a stealth or elusive in the middle between in total 3 minions on the board. Definitely is going to be important to think about how you position your stuff so you don't get punished by situational positioning cards like this. It is an interesting card. It's a frost spell. I have a feeling that we have enough good frost spells already, but the cool thing about this one is it's also a fire spell, so technically 2 birds with 1 stone for Razzle Dazzler decks, so I can definitely see this card making its way in both Shaman and Death Knight Razzle Dazzler decks, so it should be quite strong, and the effect is nothing to scoff at as well. And lastly, we have this 2-mana Hydration Totem. It's a 2-mana 0/3 totem. At the end of your turn, give adjacent minions +1/+1, and honestly, it feels not that amazing. The community disagrees apparently. Why? What do you feel like this is gonna be good for, guys? Personally, I feel like this card is not gonna see all that much play, but do not quote me on that one, I beg. Do let me know in the comments what you guys think for this card, because I honestly am not seeing the 4-star rating being holding true here. I'm probably missing something, but we shall see. With Demon Hunter, here's what the Sitch looks like. They're also sharing some Priest cards, and they also are gonna be getting 3 cards each. The Demon Hunter cards are Demonic Deal, 2-mana Fell Spell, a Lifesteal, deal 4 damage to a minion, put a random demon that costs 5 or more on top of your deck. Interesting. What is this enabling, guys? There's definitely some synergy I'm sleeping on right now, isn't there? Yeah, I'm really not sure what this card is trying to achieve here. Like, the 2-mana deal 4 damage lifesteal is kind of cool, but I'm not really sure Demon Hunter really is needing this right now. So, again, I'm not sure why this rating is somewhat high for it. I guess it does unlock some potential future situations, but for now I really am not seeing it much. Like, yeah, you could be putting some Melodari Inquisitors or Terrors or something at the top of your deck, but do you want that? I don't know, man. We also have the new weapon. It's a 3/3. Infernal Stapler? Isn't it Stapler? I mean, it is. I'm just reading it like a fucking idiot. So it's a 3-mana 3/3 weapon. After your hero attacks, deal 3 damage to your hero. Interesting cards. Priests are also gonna have access to this card. Not sure why, but they will. I guess it kind of makes some sense with the pirate Demon Hunter Tourist Arana, but I'm not sure if it's really gonna make its way into the deck already made. Time will tell, I guess. Not really loving this card, and it seems like the community doesn't either. And we also have a Spirit Peddler. Oh, he is a demon. He is above 5 mana, so there's that. So 6 mana, 6/6 demon, rush, Death Rattle, reduce the cost for random minion in your hand by 6. Okay, I guess there is some potential for the Fell card to be doing something. Cost of a random minion in your hand. Some big minion Demon Hunter apparently might be in the works here. I'm not bold enough to really pretend I'm gonna build something along those lines, but there definitely seems to be room for building something along those lines. So yeah, I guess the 2-mana spell might also be worth it. We're also getting a few priest cards here. Envoy of Prosperity. It's a 2-mana. It's a 2-mana 4/4 Battlecry. Put the highest cost card in your hand on top of your deck. This is kind of cool for priests, because they can actually reduce the cost of their next top deck with that 4/5 taunt or whatever it was. Definitely looks interesting. I wonder if it's actually gonna make it into the game. Pretty sure it should. Like, 2-mana 4/4 definitely sounds strong on its own. So we could be seeing this in a whole lot of different decks like that. Heck, Demon Hunter might just use this for the tempo. Would have been a lot cooler if it was actually a pirate too, but it ain't. So yeah, I feel like this card has plenty of potential. The community not so much though. We also have this Priest Brochure. It's a 2-mana Silver Moon Brochure. Give a minion immune this turn and +2/+2. Flips each turn. The other one is the Gilneas Brochure. Silence a minion and give it -2/-2. Yeah, both of these look definitely decently strong for 2 mana. They should be seeing play for sure. The spell tag, I'm not sure it's so important for either classes that have access to these, but the spell effects definitely sound like they could be useful. And lastly, we have also access to the card that is 3-mana minion. It's a 4/3 undead. Drop Shadower. Okay, I guess the guy at the back is the MVP here. The others just part of the art. Battlecry, if your hero took damage this turn, summon a copy of this. Okay, so technically you could buff this guy somehow. Not that many ways for this class, but still, it's possible. And if your hero took damage, you summon an extra dude for only 3 mana, sitting at 4/3. It's a borderline, basically static 3-drop as is. Summoning a second copy though makes it into a 5-drop minimum. Like, it's technically an 8/6 that way, so sounds like a 7-drop almost. So yeah, should be powerful for aggro decks. Seems like the community doesn't agree much. I mean, would have been a lot cooler if it was a pirate, obviously, but it ain't. But I think there is potential for this card for sure. Next up we have Druid. Here we also have a couple of Mage cards, obviously. And we have the 2-mana Handle with Bear. Sounds funny. Get 2 free bears with taunt. Each turn they are in your hand, gain +1/+1. This actually sounds like a pretty decent card for Druid. They do love just passing on turn 2, just hero powering or whatnot, and this way you actually get yourself a couple of taunts you could be using, like play this on 2 and you have a turn free 4/4 taunt, which honestly is not the worst thing in the world to have. As a Druid, if you don't have the Splish Splash, you definitely want to protect yourself against early game aggression. So I think this card should actually make its way into some slower Druid decks that are trying to ramp in peace. The bears definitely should be helping. We also have the Druid brochure, which was on the reveal. Draw 2 minions. Give them +2/+2, that's a nature spell, and also an arcane, draw 2 spells, they cost 1 less. Both of the effects are kinda decent, but also sitting at 4 mana, I'm not sure how amazing that is. I don't know, should probably be seeing play, like drawing 2 exact things when you actually need them is definitely decent, and also getting discount here or the +2 here could also prove to be quite strong. I don't know, I'm usually pretty optimistic about cards and what they're gonna be seeing play, but it does make sense, doesn't it? And lastly, for the Druid card, we have a 4 mana 2/1 beast. Number Cruncher, has Rush, Taunt, choose Thrice. Gain +2 or +2 health. Damn, that's actually insane. So this could be a 4 mana 8/1 with Rush, or a 4 mana 2/9, or anything in between, obviously. Kinda cool, because it's also having taunt, so basically a jack of all trades, master of most. Like, sounds like a pretty good card to me. Again, the community doesn't agree. Like, obviously would have been a lot cooler if it was a dragon, but it ain't. I don't know, I think it actually is pretty good. For the mage cards we're seeing for druids, we're gonna have the 3 mana burn down, fire a spell, draw 3 cards, and light them on fire. In 3 turns, any still in hand are destroyed. This should be good for Druid, honestly. Like, you will be able to play this a bit later when you actually have, like, a ton of mana. So, having your cards on fire is not gonna be the biggest issue for you, because you usually have so much mana to play. It's definitely not gonna be a big problem for you. For mages, I'm not sure how strong it's gonna be for mages, however. Maybe on a combo Sith turn or something, but probably not. It's way too expensive for something like that. But then again, maybe you play this on the turn before you play Sith, and then Sith and play a bunch of the burning cards and GG like that. But I don't know, probably a long shot for Mage. Sounds decent for Druid though. And lastly, we have the 7 mana Huddle Up Mage spell. Fill your board with random Naga. Problem with Nagas is they're usually nothing to write home about, like plenty of small Battlecry Nagas and whatnot. Plenty of 1-drops as well. I'm not sure. Kinda don't like this card all that much. Maybe if you cheat it out as with some big spell mage, but honestly that deck is already pretty bad as is, and this is definitely not the biggest payoff you could be hoping for, so I don't know, I'm kinda skeptical on this one. Next up we have Hunter, who also has access to Warrior, and here the Workhorse is the first Hunter new card. It's a 3 mana 4/2 beast, Death Owl, summon 2/1. Summon 2 2/1 ponies. The ponies don't have rush or anything, so it's kinda mediocre like that, but it's a 3 mana, basically 8/4, so definitely nothing to scoff at. Sounds like a decent card for something like a Token Hunter, which still has most of its core in the game, so you can definitely build another good spell Token Hunter like that. I kinda believe this might actually help Hunter a little bit, but probably not so much. We also have the 4 mana Monkey Business. Add 8 bananas to your hand. Any that can't fit are randomly fed to friendly minions in play. You can definitely cheat out a ton of extra damage this way, but it is a kind of a sketchy card, isn't it? Like, Bunch of Bananas is still quite a decent card to have. You don't see it in play as much nowadays, but it's still pretty okay. I don't know. People are rating it as mediocre again. Could actually make some sense. Not sure, really not sure. Not sure if it's gonna be a part of any real good meta deck, but it does have some promise. And the last Hunter card is the Cash Cow. It's a 5 mana 3/7 beast. Also, priests are gonna have access to this card. Does that really make too much sense for them? Hard to say. Probably not so much, but who knows. Whenever this takes damage, get a coin. It's a 3/7 beast with taunt, so it is kinda cool like that, 5 mana. Hunter could do some beast synergies with it and whatnot. Kinda helps you actually coin out faster with things like Highlander Hunters, so that could actually make some sense for them, but again, the community is kinda skeptical, and I also feel like it's not a part of the 30 best cards for a deck like that, so I don't know. We can also see the warrior cards Hunter is going to be having access to, and starting off with the 3-mana punch card, give your hero +3 attack and also damage adjacent minions this turn. Again, an important board positioning card. If you have your taunt isolated on the far left, the opponent is going to be able to only punch 2 cards and not 3. If you're using location smart, that's also going to be the case. So plenty of things to be thinking about. It's not probably a card you're gonna see people run too much of, but it is something they can discover, so again, try to play around things like this. Not sure if it's really that amazing, but who knows, it might actually make some sense. We also have the 3-mana reserved spot. Give a random minion in your hand +4/+4. If it's the only one there, reduce its cost by 2. Okay, there is some potential here for some Unkill Axe nonsense. Again, but feel like that got really nerfed hard there now, didn't it? But this would have been another way to cheat it out nice and quick, and also make it nice and big. But so far the community is not seeing it all that much, so probably not so great. And we also have the 4-mana 2/6 Alloy Advisor. It's a taunt. Whenever this takes damage, gain 3 armor. Sounds like a cool card to be including in Taunt Bomb Warrior, but really not sure if that's what the deck is struggling with. Feel like they have enough taunts and enough bombs as is, so I'm not sure this card is all that great, especially for Hunter too. Moving down to Mage, and Mage is gonna have access to rogue cards as well as pally cards, thanks to the new Tourist. But let's look at the things first. With Mage, the Burn Down we already saw. I'm not sure this is such a great card for Mages, honestly. Not much else to say here, honestly. We also have the Tourist, which is looking quite interesting. It's a 5-mana 4/5 Rogue Tourist. Battle Cry, swap the cost of the lowest and highest cost spells in your hand. This should be actually helping you in Big Spell Mage. Like Tsunami is definitely nothing to scoff at. They have also the possibility of be running some cheap spells or maybe discover one or something. It's kind of sketchy because you don't really want to be running cheap spells in the Big Spell Mage to begin with, but with a card like this, maybe you might. Getting access to rogue cards as a mage also sounds pretty interesting, but I haven't really thought about it all that much. Here's the signature art. Looks kind of fancy. And lastly, we have the Huddle Up. Still pretty horrible if you ask me. We also have access to some pally cards. I guess we can take a look at them. Is Mage going to be using this 2-mana 3/2 Busybot? Battle Cry, give your 1-attack minions +1/+1. I don't see this making its way into any Mage deck, so for Pally, probably good. For Mage, not so much. We also have access to a couple of more new Pally cards. Vacation Planning, restore 4 health, summon 3 silver hands, recruits. Draw 2 cards. For Mage, probably not so hot, even though it does make some sense, but you probably won't make enough room for this card. And we also have the 4-mana Trustfall. Discover 2 minions that cost 5 or less. They gain each other's attack and health. For Mage, not great. As for Rogues, we have Robocaller. It's a 3-mana 3/2. Draw an 8/8 and 8 cost card. Numbers dealt randomly each turn. Sounds a little bit too random if you ask me. I don't know. Not sure this card is gonna see all that much play for basically anything. It does draw 3 cards for 3 mana, however. Nah, it's probably gonna see a lot of play, honestly, but it is a little bit too random, isn't it? Sounds somewhat wrong, but at least it has the mech tag, so maybe Mechro could make some sense of it. And also the fact that it could actually draw you 3 cards. It's a little bit too good to scoff at, isn't it? We also have the 4-mana Sharp Shipment. Give your weapon +2/+2. Could this actually be worth it to use in a Khadgar deck? Probably not. For Rogue, it probably makes some sense. For Mage, not really. And also the last rogue card here is the 4-mana Agency Espionage. Shuffle a card from each other class into your deck. They cost 1. Looks way too random, way too memey. Don't think Mage wants this right now. With Pally, we just saw the new Busybot. It could make some sense for some of the hand buff and flood Pallies, but I'm not sure we're really gonna make that room, are we? Community seems to be happy with the cards. It is a mech. You could magnetize the Drone Deconstructor idiots onto it. it if you're playing it in hand buff Pally, but is this really that good? I mean, I guess it's giving your 1 attack minions +1 on the board, right? So this would be buffing some of your silver hand recruits. It would be buffing some of the boogie down idiots. So yeah, apparently this is gonna be a flood Pally card more than anything else. Plenty of silver hand nonsense there, so I retract my initial statement. Definitely should be seeing play in flood Pally. We also have the vacation planning. For Pally, this card definitely sounds pretty good. Like, it just draws you 2 cards, it summons you 3 idiots, and it also restores 4 health, and you're probably going to be using this on your board, not so much on your face. So should be an okay card. Should be quite strong, actually, in Flood Pally again. Not sure you're going to be seeing this in anything else, though. At least from the meta decks. Obviously, it could fit in Highlander and whatnot, but are those even good? And the Trust Fall kind of sounds strong, but it also kind of sounds random. Not sure where you're going to be including this. Again, Highlander Pally is the only thing that comes to mind. Discovering 2 minions that cost 5 or less, and they gain each other's attack and health. I mean, that's going to be a lot of extra attack and health. Technically, if you discover a couple of 5-drops, and they have 5-drop stats, aka 5-6, you would be getting something along the lines of 10-12 and whatnot on both of those bodies. But then again, it's random, so you only get 3 options. Who knows what the costs are and whatnot. It's a little bit too random is what I'm trying to say, but I guess in a Highlander, surely you can find room for one of these in there. We also have access to the rogue cards. The draw guy could see some play indeed. I guess in hand buff Pally I can see this guy making its way. The sharp shipment definitely sounds decent for a hand buff Pally, making your weapon into a 4-5. Being able to swing plenty of times like that kind of sounds cool. As for the agency espionage, sounds pretty trash to me. With priest we have envoy of prosperity. And yeah, as I said, this sounds like a pretty strong statted minion. It is going to be doing quite a lot for the mana. Putting your highest cost card on the top of your deck could have its downsides, but it also could have the upside with that discount to 1 mana idiot. Definitely could help a lot. The brochures kind of sound cool, not sure how much though. And drop Shadower also doesn't scream exactly priest, not sure you're gonna include this in Overkill Priest or Zarimi, and Highlander is kind of dog shit, so doesn't sound like an amazing priest card so far. Priest also having access to these hunter cards. I guess the cash cow makes some sense, the others probably not so much. Like, what do you want to use these guys for? Moving down to Rogue, who has access to Warlock cards. The new employee of the month, Battlecry, give a friendly minion lifesteal, doesn't exactly scream Rogue to me, so probably not so hot there. We also have the 2-mana tradable Deadline. Temporary destroy a minion. Definitely sounds strong, like you should be having the 1 mana to throw it back into the deck most of the time. If you don't, you might actually just use it on something somewhat okay, like a 4-drop or something. But you can definitely get lucky. It's gonna be a little bit unreliable, but in the end of the day, it's card draw for you, so there's that. The Robo Color should be seeing play in Rogues for sure. Like, it's a good amount of card draw like that, so something like Excavate Rogue should be abusing this one. The Sharp Shipment, Cutlass Rogue already has enough of that action going, so they don't really need this one as much. But you could be using this on other card draw weapons and such, so there could be something along those lines. The Agency Espionage could make its way into some Mimi deck, but I don't really feel like it's gonna be that impactful. And the Warlock card Fine Print, deal 4 damage to all minions, excess damage hits your hero. Damn, that's wrong. I don't think Crow can use this, like, fuck that. Moving down to Shaman, who also got a new Titan, might as well start off with that. Turbulus, Hunter Tourist, having access to some Hunter cards, could actually unlock yourself some good Battlecry synergies. Give +1/+1 to all other Battlecry minions in your hand, deck, and battlefield. Kinda sounds cool. You definitely do have plenty of Battlecry minions in Shaman. Elemental Shaman definitely comes into mind here. Oh shit, this workhorse is actually a Death Rattle. For some reason I thought he was a Battlecry. That makes the card a lot worse now, doesn't it? Anyway, back to the Shaman thing. Having access to the Hunter cards can actually allow you to do some interesting things. They do have some good Battlecry synergies in this set, so that could be cool indeed. As for other Shaman cards here, we have the Ice Crown Brochure, which we already saw, and the Hydration Totem, which kind of sounds mediocre, but I guess it could be used in aggressive Shaman decks. We also have access to the Death Knight cards. Soul Searching, discover a card from your deck, spend 5 corpses to play it. As a Shaman, spend 5 corpses to copy it. As a Shaman, probably has some use case scenario, I'm just not seeing it right through. The Demonic Deal, not sure if that's super amazing for Shaman either. Workhorse sounds pretty bad, Infernal sounds pretty bad here, Eternal Layover, I don't know, I don't like it much. Monkey Business, not that great. Cash Cow, I don't know, I guess Highlander Shaman could. Spirit Peddler, not seeing it too much either. And Travel Security at last, not that amazing either. I don't know, sounds a little bit mediocre honestly. We also have Warlock, we also only have 3 Warlock cards listed here. Why? We also have Summoner Dark Marrow, so we should be having access to the Death Knight cards, but Warlock, and we have Soul Searching, discover a card from your deck, spend 5 corpses to copy it. What kind of Warlock deck would be using this? I guess Insanity Warlock can definitely see big use for this one instead of fracking or something along those lines. I can see a world where that happens. Pain Warlock sounds a little bit on the iffy side. Give all minions Reborn, then destroy all minions. What would Warlock want out of this? Not sure it's really in the cards, and Travel Security, pretty dog shit if you ask me. Okay, so Warlock is getting the Employee of the Month. I guess Pain Warlock could include this guy, so it has a second way of actually healing a bunch. Giving this to an 8/8 or a 6/6 should be pretty strong. We also have the Deadline. Could be seeing some play in heck, maybe even Insanity could actually make this card work. Hand Warlock might make it work, the wheel kind, I guess. And lastly, we have Fine Print. It's kind of cool. Deal 4 damage to all minions. Excess damage hits your hero. I mean, I don't think you're gonna use this in Pain Warlock, are ya? Like, you can drop yourself down to 8 health super quickly, but a little bit too quickly if you ask me. And it's also a bit expensive, so ain't nobody got time for turn 4. We drop Giants on free. It's kind of a weird card. I guess Insanity could make it work with the weapon equipped, but community doesn't really think it's gonna be that good, and I don't think I do either. And lastly, we have Warrior, and with Warrior, we also have access to the Druid cards. Handle with Bear, get 2 free bears with Taunt. Kinda sounds okay for Taunt Warrior, but Taunt Warrior is just trash, so probably not really. Punch cards, doesn't sound that hot as we already saw. Reserve Spot, give a random minion +4. If it's the only one there, reduced cost by 2. Don't really love it. The Angoro Brochure with the +2 or draw 2. Kinda good for Highlander Warrior now that I think about it. Should be seeing some play there. We also have the Alloy Advisor, doesn't sound too hot. And Number Cruncher, I guess Warrior could use this guy, but probably has better options. So yeah, that's gonna be it for this mini set, guys. Hope this helps you figure out what you want to be playing on day 1 of the new mini set. Definitely buy it. And also, I will see you on Wednesday, I think, because I won't be able to stream today, like I said. So yeah, hope the video helped you, and if it did, drop a like and subscribe to the channel. And don't forget you can hire for some Hearthstone coaching and support me on Metafy groups. Thanks for watching. I'm Kris05, and I'll see you in my next video or stream.